to my desk for help because I actually helped them instead of making them feel stupid for asking. Dina noticed and ramped up. She started going after my work directly. She CC'd our supervisor on an email pointing out a minor formatting error in one of my reports. Not a mistake that affected anything. A margin that was a quarter inch off from the template. She wrote it like she was doing me a favor. Just wanted to flag this so it doesn't happen again. Thought it was worth mentioning since we want to maintain consistency across the team. Our supervisor Lorraine replied and said thanks for flagging and moved on. Dina took that as validation. The next week she found another small thing. A date I'd written as April 3rd instead of April 3rd. She sent it to the whole team this time. Just a friendly reminder that we use numerical date formats in all official correspondence. She didn't mention my name, but she replied to my email thread so everyone knew who she was correcting. I didn't respond. Not because I was being strategic, because I genuinely didn't care. I had spent years learning that the only power people like Dina have is the power you hand them by reacting. If you don't flinch, they have nothing to work with, and I don't flinch anymore. I learned that from Alma. Dina's next move was predictable because it was the same thing I would have done at 15. She went for my reputation with the supervisor. She started volunteering for high visibility projects, and then subtly pointing out that I wasn't contributing to them. She'd say things in meetings like, I know we're all busy, but some of us have been carrying a heavier load lately. She never said my name. She didn't need to. The implication was enough. She started scheduling informal check-ins with Lorraine where she'd bring up team dynamics and express concern about whether the newer members were pulling their weight. I knew this because Willa told me. Willa had overheard Dina on the phone with Lorraine through the break room wall and came to my desk afterward looking uncomfortable. She said, I don't want to start anything, but I think you should know what's being said. I thanked her and told her not to worry. Willa looked surprised. She said, aren't you going to do something? I said, I'm going to keep doing my job. That's the something. Here's what Dina didn't understand. I had studied people like her professionally for 7 years. I ran workshops in schools about exactly this behavior. I could identify the cycle she was in better than she could. Dina wasn't bullying me because she hated me. She was bullying me because I threatened something she needed. She needed to be the most important person in that office. She needed people to come to her. She needed the hierarchy she built because without it, she didn't know where she stood. I was dismantling that hierarchy just by being decent, and it was making her spiral. The harder she pushed, the more desperate she looked, and the more desperate she looked, the more people quietly moved away from her. That's the thing about bullies in professional spaces. In school, you can get away with it because the social structure protects you. In an office, there are records, there are emails, there are witnesses, and there are supervisors who eventually start paying attention when the patterns become impossible to ignore. The turning point came 3 months after I started. Our office had a quarterly review where each team member presented their caseload progress and outcomes. It was informal, but Lorraine used it to evaluate how people were performing. Dina always went first. She presented her numbers with confidence and made sure to reference how much she'd taken on for the team. She was good at that part, making her work sound bigger than it was. When it was my turn, I presented my numbers plainly. I didn't add spin. I didn't compare myself to anyone. I didn't preface it with how busy I'd been or how much extra I'd taken on. I just showed the data. I had handled 22 more cases than the quarter before. My resolution rate was the highest on the team at 89%. 3 families I'd worked with had sent written feedback to the office thanking me by name. One letter was from a mother whose custody situation I'd helped navigate over 6 weeks of calls and home visits. She wrote that I was the first person at any agency who made her feel like she wasn't being judged. I hadn't asked for the feedback. I didn't know the letters existed until Lorraine read excerpts from them during my portion of the review. They sent them on their own. Lorraine looked at the numbers and then looked at me and said, this is excellent work. She said it simply, the way you say something that doesn't need embellishment because the facts are already loud enough. Dina's jaw tightened. I could see it from across the table. She waited until Lorraine moved on to the next person, and then leaned